Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for November 3rd. We're looking at the US Japanese yen pair. I'm expecting this pair to move as high as 136 and on the lower side 97.30. Look for some resistance to come into this market around 99.75. And as far as support goes, look for support around 98.00 for this particular pair. Now this pair closed up. It is pretty much moving sideways at this point. The bias is to move sideways. Something interesting though, if you draw a line, for this session's high and this session's high, we're pretty much hitting the lows of when we were in a trading range here. So if we get a true break above that, something that really kind of moves above that point significantly, definitely if we close above it, we could see it move up to roughly this point pretty fast in a pretty quick fashion. Just something I was noticing, something to take note of when you're looking at support and resistance. Let's take a look at the Euro-USD pair. This particular pair I'm expecting to move between 129.83 and on the low side looking for the range to be 124.81. Now look for some resistance to come into this market a little bit lower than our high range at 127.45, and also look for some support. I'm looking for 125.50. So this particular pair is moving down. It did close down. I believe it's moving down. We should really see if we can get a breakout when we basically test these two lows that previous support. They test it twice with these two sessions. If we get a good break below it, definitely close below it, we should see much lower prices for the Euro USD. And of course, this pivot high that we had was a really good indication. Whenever you get a bar that moves that high and then pulls back and closes low, you can definitely count on the next day being much lower and possibly the start of a downtrend. I pretty much am looking for this pair to continue lower. We should get a strong down day, if not this session, maybe the next, to break through this support that we had. If that occurs, we definitely need to look for it for lower prices, and we'll do that when the time comes. Now looking at the pound US dollar pair, I'm looking for this pair to move as high as 65.03. That may be on the high side, but that's what I'm looking for. And also on the lower side, 153.08. We could see some support or some resistance come into this market around 6,000 is where we should see it. If we get I'd be surprised if it breaks above it. Right now, obviously, it's moving lower. Look for some support, though, in this particular pair at 155.50. Pen's not wanting to write today. There we go. This pair is moving lower. Here again, in this pair, we had two sessions where we tested this support level. If we get a break below that, we could definitely see prices go lower, but we're not there yet. We're actually a good, it looks like around 500 pips from breaking that. So, we definitely want to keep an eye on this. We could bounce off this level as well. So that's a level that we need to look for in the prices and in the sessions to come. Now let's take a look at the Swiss. The Swiss pushed higher today, broke through some previous resistance. I'm looking for this pair to move as high as 118.29. And on the lower side, and this is kind of out of the range of possibility, is due to these high range days we've been having in this pair, 114.02. Probably what is a little more realistic, look for some resistance around this same point at 118.29, and look for some support we should see around 11700 in this particular pair. This pair moved down sharply last week in the session, gapped down on the open, if you notice, has retraced that, which the odds are definitely in the favor for that to occur, and is now moving higher. And I'm looking for basically it to move up to the 118.29 level within this session. Well, that about does it for the charts today. Well, real quick, let's take a look at the pound Japanese yen pair. We took a look at it yesterday on the weekly time frame just to see where we were. Let's take a look at what has occurred so far. We have an inside bar that was created last week that we talked about, if you notice here, and we were looking for basically a break of this session's low, which I realize is a very big drop from where it is currently, but if we get it, we definitely see lower prices, and we could see a drop that was similar to this drop that occurred, which was several hundreds of pips. It was a really big move. So if we get a break of this low, we should see similar action. What would be very nice and clever would be if we get another inside bar that we could look for, in the range of this bar is a little bit closer than this one. So the breakout, when it occurs, would be closer to the market, but we'll just have to see. Well, we have the Swiss CPI for October being released tomorrow, and the consensus is that it has gone up from 0.1% up to 0.4%. And year to date, they're saying that they're anticipating that it has moved down actually from 2.9% down to 2.5%. That's being released at 1:45 a.m. Eastern Time. That's kind of surprising to me that it has moved down. If it does indeed come out that the CPI has dropped for the Swiss by 0.4, we could see the Swiss strengthen against the US dollar, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, the Australian dollar has their trade balance for September being released at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. The consensus is that it has dropped from 113.64 million to 5 million or 500 million, and if we get a drop of that significance, that's a drop that large, that's very significant, and we could see that definitely affect the Australian dollar. Well, that about does it for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.